Hey, friends. Hey, happy Thanksgiving. Only 4 days away. Hard to believe. Hard to believe. Hey, I'm in my vehicle today, kind of a makeshift situation here today, but I wanted to share with you 5 words that describe my thankfulness. They describe my standing or a believer standing with God because of what Jesus did for us on the cross. I'm so thankful. And we're asking that question like today is God pleased with you? Is God pleased with you? Like, how do you know? These words kind of help us understand like where we stand with him. If you are a believer in Jesus, a follower of Christ, you are in him, born again believer. This describes you. And so I hope this is helpful. I really do. Stick around for the rest of the video. Maybe you'll find the answer. But hey, so your situation in Jesus, if you're in Christ, it is totally changed. Totally drastically changed because before Christ, right, when we were unbelievers, our relationship with God was defined as what? As what? Hostile in mind, Colossians 1. Our relationship with God was defined as storing up wrath against ourselves on the day of judgment, or the Bible describes us in Ephesians 2 as enemies. Enemies, scary. But God has done something awesome. And there's 5 words that describe the standing a believer has in Jesus. Please stick around. Hey, redemption. That word redemption, what does it mean? You once stood before God in a very sorry situation as a slave to guilt and sin, guilt in opposition to God. I mean, that was you, right? You couldn't help it. You couldn't help it, but Jesus purchased you out of slavery, to sin and guilt. You remember how dark that was? How horrible that was? You're not a slave to your sin, you're free. I love this, Romans 3:24, justified freely by his grace through the redemption that's in Jesus. Think about that, redemption, redeemed, right? Jesus purchases you and frees you out of a very sorry situation of guilt and sin. Hey, here's that second word, justification. Big Christianese word. What does it mean? People have said it's like just as if I'd never sinned. That's a good term. Just as if I'd never sinned. Who will bring any charge against us? Romans 8:33 says, whom God has chosen. It is God who justifies. So justification is you stand before God guilty and condemned, but you're declared righteous. Yeah. When you come to Christ, God sees the perfect blood of Christ. He sees his son. He doesn't see you anymore. He sees his son. And so that's how we could say, well, God is pleased with me because God's not looking at me and my shortcomings and my sin. God is looking at his son, Jesus, who is perfect, his righteousness. Hey, what's a third word that describes our relationship with him? Forgiveness. Forgiveness. You stand before God with a debt to pay, right? Think about that. But the debt is paid and is forgiven. I love Ephesians 1:7. He is so rich in kindness and grace that he purchased our freedom with the blood of his son. Yeah. Woohoo. That's awesome. So if you're in Jesus, God forgave you on the basis of what Jesus did for you on the cross. Awesome stuff. Hey, adoption. That's that fourth word. Describing our relationship with God, our standing with God, adoption. I'm thankful for adoption. You stand before God as a stranger, but you are made a son. Ephesians 1:5. Hey, God decided in advance to adopt you into his own family by bringing us to himself through Jesus Christ. This is what he wanted to do, and it gave him great pleasure. Is that encouraging? Is God pleased with you? That's the question. Is God pleased with me? In reconciliation, that's that last word, reconciliation. So we're enemies of God. Sinner stands before God as an enemy, but becomes his friend. 2 Corinthians 5:19, for God in Christ was reconciling the world to himself, no longer counting people's sins against them. So is God pleased with you? Is God pleased with you? The question, if you're in Jesus, if in faith you believe that God loved you and sent his son to pay the penalty for your sin, he called out to him to save you. Acts 2:21, everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. In faith, you repented from your sin, turned from sin in faith, right? Your confession of faith to God became a possession of faith in Christ. God on the merit of Jesus looks at you and he sees flawlessness. One last verse for you, Colossians 1:22. As a result, he has brought you into his own presence, and you are holy and blameless as you stand before God without a single fault. Is God pleased with you? Hey, on the merit of Jesus, if you are in Christ, there's been a transaction between you and God. You're born again. Men and women, God is pleased with you. This is so encouraging. Happy Thanksgiving. I am thankful. I hope you're thankful too. Thanks, friends. Bye. Love you.